Metro on 101.9 WDET FM, Detroit Public Radio. I'm Tia Graham. And this Saturday, WDET will celebrate the life of one of its pioneers. Judy Adams was a former program director and the host of WDET, and her career at the station spanned 30 years. Adams died of an illness in December of 2024. And during that time, she pushed the boundaries of music programming on the radio in Detroit. Her shows, Morphogenesis and The Judy Adams Show, were known for mixing genre and style, curating an eclectic listening experience. When Adams became the station's program director, she encouraged the music hosts to embrace the free-form approach. Many of the music programs you know and love today have adopted Adams' style. To honor Judy Adams, producer Carrie Jr. II spoke with her son, Anthony Minnie, and Essential Music host Ann DeLisi ahead of the WDET event this Saturday evening from 5 to 8 at the Garden Theater.
So I'm wondering what your first music memory was of your mother.
Oof.
Are there artists that come to mind when you think of the shows that you listen to?
So I remember coming to the old station, and this is like mid-'80s. I mean, jazz is an easy one. I mean, she was a huge Pat Metheny fan, Miles Davis, McCoy Tyner, and then also she was a child of the 60s, an old hippie, so like the classic rock, Pink Floyd and Neil Young and Led Zeppelin. Detroit techno was big for her. She got me into Carl Craig, Derek May, Kevin Saunderson, a lot of the kind of godfathers there. It's pretty cool, though, because, especially as a kid, growing up in more of a mainstream environment, you're trying to assimilate. All your friends are, listening to pop, and, it's not cool to talk about a lot of this stuff as a kid. You kind of rebel against it, and you don't embrace it as a kid until you get older. And it's such a nice feeling when you run into people, and it's very surface level, and then all of a sudden, as soon as they recognize who she is and they mention they're a fan, now we're going deep. Now we're, in the depths of that eclectic world, and it's pretty cool to kind of... You're like, oh, okay, you're cool. All right, we can vibe.
We can actually vibe.
Yeah.
So when you talk to people who maybe listen to your mother's programming,
yeah.
and if you run into them ever, or if you've been to some events at WDET and you've spoken with them, what do they typically say to you about her programming?
I was at a dinner a few nights ago. I'm in the wine business, and we did a wine dinner. And I was just talking to people, and then all of a sudden they heard that my mom was Judy Adams, and they just gave me a completely different look. And this one guy just shook my hand and just gave me this warm embrace. And he was like, I feel like I know your mom so well. I got a nice card from someone in my industry who just said, your mom created the soundtrack to my life. The last 50 years, he said, I was listening to her show, and there's so many memories I have. And that happens all the time. It's wild.
Why do you think her taste was so broad?
She had a composition degree from Oakland University, and she was a highly trained pianist. So I think that was also an appeal for her to musicians, that she was a musician's DJ. She understood the technical aspects of music.
I see.
San Francisco, here on the Judy Adams program on WDET, where we have moved into Studio A, and we've got 4 bandoneon players this morning, and everything that you're playing just sounds like one instrument. It's just amazing. And they're all the same bandoneons. It's not like there's a soprano bandoneon or a choir of bandoneons. They're all basically the same instrument. They're playing in unison.
Yes. No, they're playing the same, but they don't play in unison. They are playing different voices. Sometimes they play unison, but sometimes they just complete the chords between of them.
Mm-hmm, like a harmony.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful. And
so, Anne, like Judy, you also have a background in music. What do you think that brings to a music show?
When you're thinking about music and you studied music, you listen to music a little differently. And certainly when it came to interviewing people, having a different vantage point, which is understanding music and how it's made and how it's composed, I think Judy and I both had that in common because I was a composition major at first, and Judy got her degree in composition. So I think for both of us, it just served us really well to have that kind of mindset and that kind of background when talking to people about music and how they make music. So,
And what about the listeners? How are they better served by that kind of background?
so if you're basically telling them what to listen for, then they know you're giving them a direction as to what they should be looking for when they're going to listen to something. And so in that context, when I'm about to play something and I am aware of why this song is special or why I like it so much, and if I can tell people, listen for this, then it puts them in a space where they don't feel like it's over their head because I'm telling them what they're going to hear. So it's just really all in the delivery sometimes, or in how you set something up that makes it not too in the weeds. And so it's like never talking down, but always saying, hey, we're going to check this out together. This is really what I want you to hear. Then it becomes an interesting piece of music from a different standpoint.
How did you and Judy meet?
I was working at a juice bar in a health spa. And it was before anybody called them smoothies. I don't even know what we called them back then, but that's what I was really making. And
Wait, there was a word for smoothie before smoothie?
there really wasn't. And I kind of laugh about it when I think back about it. We didn't have a word for it, but that's what I was making. And Judy used to come to the spa, and she would stop at the juice bar. And we got to talking one day, and she just said, oh, you're studying music. I studied music, and we started talking. And she said, if you ever want to volunteer at WDET, you let me know. And a couple of months later, I just wandered up to the Maccabees building, and WDET was on the top floor. And I just went up there, and I was like, Judy Adams told me to come here. And the next thing I knew, I was filing record albums as a volunteer, and that's how my career started.
How did Judy know when a young Andalisi was ready to host?
One day she's like, well, don't you want to be on the air? And I just had never thought about it. I didn't consider it. And so my very first air shift was 3 to 6 a.m. on Saturday morning, literally.
Great audience.
Yes, either asleep or having had a great night out.
Right.
So, but I could do no damage then. I couldn't hurt anything. But the beauty of overnights, which has been taken out of radio entirely, was that's where people could learn to get good. And that's where I learned. You make all these mistakes and you figure it out, and you learn, just learn your craft, and that's what it is. And so then it was like 2 to 6, and then it was, then when I followed Ed Love on Friday night, I thought I had hit the big time. I was on at 10 p.m.
Ooh.
And then eventually I took that Friday slot, and Ed was on, I think, Monday through Thursday, and then I was Friday in his slot, and I did a show called New Releases in Review. And that was Judy's idea. So she, moved me along, and like I said, I learned from her. I learned from the best. Ed Love was here, and Judy was here, and all of these folks who were seasoned broadcasters were all around me. So I learned from listening to them.
At 101.9, this is listener-supported WDET FM in Detroit. I'm Judy Adams. Music there of Morcheeba from an album that came out last year, sort of a best of Morcheeba album, Parts of the Process, with Sky there doing vocals on The Sea.
She essentially took these voyages through music and food. So she would take us on a trip.
Mm-hmm.
And, you'd be in Detroit, driving through the city or in your office or whatever, and automatically she made you feel like you were in a different place, a different time. And I think she was always trying to sort of conjure that sense of adventure and imagination in people.
Are there salient moments when you kind of passively absorbed your mom's music taste?
Oh, yeah. So she was really big into the road trip playlist, and we didn't go on like big trips. We didn't travel abroad or anything, but as a kid, we would go up to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and that was kind of her special place. We would go up there for 2 weeks every summer, and she would build out playlists to be like for the theme, like I'm driving along Lake Michigan. I want to, like, this is the feeling I want to evoke. I remember a lot of Pat Metheny in those days, which I didn't understand at the time. I was like, all right, whatever. But, now, like, I love that stuff. And I still have a lot of those CDs that, she created, these playlists, like they were really curated.
So, Ann, what's Judy's lasting impact as the program director of the station?
The way Judy executed her own show, her philosophy, her vision for the work that she did personally on WDET is something we all feel today. All of us who do a freeform show, which is all of us who do a music show, owe Judy a debt because she laid the foundation for freeform radio in Detroit because of her show Morphogenesis. The fact that she believed in freeform radio and she believed in serving the community in which we broadcast from. We had very strong beliefs about being Detroit and being authentically Detroit and, basically reflecting our community. That was always a part of everything that she did. And as the program director, she guided us in that direction. So even though we were expanding and we became a nationally known radio station, we always were very conscious that we were in Detroit, and it was important for all of us to reflect that. And that is something we still feel today, right? We are all about serving the community in which we live. We go about it differently, certainly, because everything has changed in many, many ways. But a lot of where we are now today, the hybrid format of music and news, Judy was very much a part of how we hung on to that. There were plenty of arguments for becoming one or another. It was always a discussion throughout the years. Should we be an all news station? Should we be an all music station? And there were arguments for both. But Judy felt that it was important for us to do both. And we found a way to do it. And that was because of her.
Anthony, you know your mom in some of the most intimate and personal ways anyone can. And it's been like that your entire life. Do you ever feel selfish or possessive over her? Do you ever feel like they don't know her like I know her?
I don't feel like that. I don't feel protective in that sense.
Okay.
It feels so cool to share that. It really touches my heart to feel that about her, that she touched so many people. And she also touched me in that way. And it's not just super personal to me, but everybody else now understands that at a deeper level. It's a beautiful feeling.
I will forever be grateful to her for giving me a shot to pursue something I didn't even know I was meant to do.
You are her living legacy.
Yeah.
I guess, what does that mean to you?
I really feel a responsibility to carry her name on, especially in Detroit, because this city meant so much to her. The music scene meant so much to her. When I'm in the city, when I'm driving around, I feel her there. I feel like she's added something to the landscape. And I don't want that to disappear, because I know that there's a lot of people out there that remember her well. And I just feel very grateful that I'm able to do that, and that we're able to still continue this legacy. So I know that she would want me to do that, because she loved the city and she loved all of her listeners. Yeah.
Was produced by Carrie Jr. II. He spoke with Judy Adams' son, Anthony Minnie, and Essential Music host Ann DeLisi. Join WDET in celebrating Judy Adams this Saturday, April 19th, at the Garden Theater. The event is from 5 to 8 p.m., and it will feature Ishmael Ahmed, host of WDET's This Island Earthed on the Ones and Twos, with music inspired by Judy Adams' radio show. Sean Blackman and friends will also perform music honoring Judy's love of global music and rhythms, and artist John Strand will share animation he created, which includes original music composed and performed by Judy Adams. The evening will feature light bites and a cash bar. You can RSVP by going to wdet.org/events. WDET will also announce the Judy Adams Music Internship, which is a tribute to Judy's memory and lasting legacy. The internship will foster the education and career development of students with a passion for music, education, community service, and radio. From the WDET newsroom, former state lawmaker Adam Ollier says he's running for Congress again, challenging incumbent Sri Tanadar in next year's Democratic primary election. Ollier filed to run against Tanadar last year and had many big-name supporters, but he failed to file enough valid petition signatures to get on the ballot. He also ran in 2022, but finished behind Tanadar in a crowded primary race. And in national politics, President Donald Trump says he might temporarily exempt the auto industry from tariffs to give car makers time to adjust their supply chains. He claims import taxes will persuade American car companies to move overseas manufacturing back to the U.S., and skeptics say that would not happen overnight and that sweeping tariffs could hurt the auto industry. Coming up, several kids from Gaza with severe injuries arrived in Detroit over the weekend. We'll learn what it takes to evacuate these kids from a war zone that cuts off from the rest of the world. Stay right there on the Metro. We'll be right back.